Superman, Man of Tomorrow is a new DC animated film that is set in a new continuity after the old DC animated universe continuity ended with Justice League Dark Apocalypse War. Directed by, I think, Chris Palmer is the name of the director, and it has a new animation style. It has new voice actors and voice talent for the roles in this movie. Origin story for Superman, as well as a lot of the other principal characters that we know and love from the Superman mythology. This movie deals with Clark Kent figuring out who he is as a person while also trying to handle this rising threat that he sort of inadvertently causes, and it creates this big discussion and debate about aliens living among us on Earth. I feel like there's no other place to start with this movie other than the animation style. A lot of people have been used to watching the other DC animated movies for a while and being used to seeing a certain type of animation. This animation obviously is a lot different. Comparisons to Archer are going to be out there. They're going to be prevalent. There's really nothing that you can do about that. You can't avoid it. It is what it is. It is drawn very similarly to Archer. So if you love Archer, you might enjoy this style. I would say overall, though, that if you're used to the older animation style that they used in the previous continuity, this is going to be a little bit jarring for you. In terms of a well-drawn 2D animation, I feel like they could have done worse, and it does feel a little bit refreshing, and it does feel a little bit invigorating to see this new animation style. I don't know if they're going to use this for the other characters in the other movies in this continuity, but for this movie, I feel like it worked. Really, the story for this movie is the voice talent. We have a lot of new actors that are coming in and replacing some of the older actors that we've gotten used to watching and listening and hearing on the other DC movies for the last, I don't know, almost decade now. Obviously, these guys have big shoes to fill, but I thought overall in this movie, the three principal voice actors in general did a phenomenal job. Alexandria Daddario, I don't think she's a great actress, but I've always been a fan of hers for some reason. And no, this has nothing to do with her tits. This mostly has nothing to do with her tits. As far as capturing the sass and the attitude, the determination, and the smart aleck tone that Lois Lane is supposed to have in a lot of these movies, I thought that Alexandra did a great job. So Darren Criss, who I think is an actor and a singer from Glee, he did a great job as far as capturing a young Clark Kent Superman. Something you really got to keep in mind when you watch this movie. This is Superman's beginning. This is him before he really becomes the Superman that we know. And his character is filled with a lot of conflict and a lot of doubt and a lot of insecurity. And it's kind of refreshing to see Superman go through that age-old struggle. Let's be honest, it's a very human, very relatable thing. As human beings, we're used to having that existential crisis of who am I? Who am I supposed to be? Darren Criss did a great job at capturing the conflict and the identity crisis of a young Superman. We'll say the guy that stole the show for me is Zachary Quinto. Now, Zachary Quinto, if you know him as Sylar from Heroes, he's played a bad guy and he has the perfect voice to be a bad guy. As somebody who religiously bitched about Ralph Wilson or whatever his name was that played Lex Luthor in the old continuity, this is a breath of fresh air. Like, this kicked my ass. He was amazing in the role as Lex Luthor in this movie. His voice sounds threatening, but also sounds smooth at the same time. It's hard to really describe it, but Zachary Quinto as Lex Luthor, yes, he was absolutely the standout, and I definitely look forward to seeing more of him going forward. Definitely, there are a lot of Easter eggs, references, name drops, and stuff like that. It builds the world. It makes you want to see more of a lot of these characters going forward. Martian Manhunter in this movie does a really good job in the small role that he has. Lobo shows up in this film. As far as origin stories, it doesn't really reinvent the wheel or anything like that, but a lot of elements that you see in this film can not only be found in the comics of Superman, like you look at Superman Birthright, you look at Superman Year One, American Alien, you know, other comics like that. You can also find a lot of parallels and a lot of elements of the story and the dialogue and the characters and the way that they deal with the alien problem. You can see a lot of that prevalent in Man of Steel. Like, if you just go back and watch the movie Man of Steel, a lot of the rhetoric of that movie you can find woven into the tapestry of this movie as well. The way that they decided to tell the story of Superman and his origin. I also feel like at times it felt a little bit too safe for my liking. By safe, what I mean by that is that Superman in this film is portrayed as having to make choices, like tough choices, and he has to live with the consequences of these choices. And I feel like the movie, either because it didn't have enough time or maybe because they just didn't care to focus on it, I feel like we didn't get enough of those consequences. Sometimes it felt like something that was presented like, okay, here's a tough choice, but then we don't really get to see the fallout of this choice. It feels very safe. I feel like there's a clash of ideas here that sometimes is not fully fleshed out because of the runtime of the movie. I do appreciate Parasite and his addition to this movie as a villain. Sometimes it feels like he is disconnected from the story in a way where it's not really resonating. The best way I can describe Parasite in this movie is that he feels like a side villain that accidentally became a main villain, and I feel like the movie didn't always know what to do with him in that regards, even though I love Parasite personally. Man of Tomorrow was definitely a great building block for the DC continuity going forward. I'm gonna leave this one in the Silver Age for Man of Steel. Give me your favorite Superman animated movie of all time. I'm sure you've got one. Put that down below. Please like and subscribe to the Superfan Show, and as always, if you like what you see, tell me how you feel, and stay tuned to hear more from the Man of Steel. Peace.